Hello and welcome to Happier, a podcast where we talk about strategies and tips and hacks for how to make our lives happier. This week is a very special episode. Every 10th episode is a very special episode, and this very special episode is all about travel. We have dozens and dozens of hacks from listeners and from ourselves about how to make travel easier, more convenient, more comfortable, more pleasant. Can't wait to dive in. I'm Gretchen Rubin, a writer who studies happiness, good habits, the five senses, secrets of adulthood, human nature. I'm in my little home office in New York City, and joining me today from Los Angeles is my sister, Elizabeth Kraft. And Elizabeth, you are one of my very favorite people to travel with.
That's me, Elizabeth Kraft, a TV writer and producer living in LA. And yes, Gretch, I'm really hoping we get to travel again this summer and go on another sister adventure and use some of these hacks.
Yeah, I know. It's getting me excited. But before we jump in, a few updates. First, here in the United States, it is almost Thanksgiving, and it's also almost our father's birthday. Some years our father's birthday falls actually on the day of Thanksgiving, sometimes not. It always feels very auspicious when it does. So happy birthday to our father. Happy Thanksgiving to you. And also, this means that Giving Tuesday is coming up. This year it falls on December 3rd. So if you value generosity, if you want to give as well as buy, think about a cause that you want to support and use Giving Tuesday as a catalyst to remind you to do it.
Yeah, and Gretchen, you actually went on the board of Giving Tuesday.
I did. I think this is such a powerful idea. It's using the calendar as a catalyst for action, which of course I love using the calendar as a catalyst. We have Black Friday, we have Cyber Monday, so let's have Giving Tuesday. We're all happier when we connect with our values, and it's a great reminder. And it's something that can be done at any time. It's often done in no time, so a good time to do it is Giving Tuesday.
Yes. Another thing people should do, Gretch, is sign up for your Habits for Happiness course.
Yes, if you are listening to this when it drops, there are only a few days left in November to get the special offer to get 40% off the Habits for Happiness course. Plus, we are running a special Black Friday, Cyber Monday offer that starts this Friday. So when you sign up, you'll get an additional $20 credit to use in the Happiness Project shop. You can find out all this information at courses.gretchenrubin.com.
I know Sarah's doing it, Gretch. We're going to talk about it on Happier in Hollywood. We're going to follow her journey.
I'm so pleased to hear she's going to do it. I can't wait to hear what she picks.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Okay, this week, the try this at home suggestion for the very special episode is to remember these travel hacks. Because one of the biggest challenges, I think, Elizabeth, is you can learn a hack, but then you have to remember to use it at the right time. So you can learn these hacks, but then you have to remember the hacks.
Yes, I was actually thinking I need to listen to this episode back like 3 times to get all these hacks into my brain.
Well, and speaking of that, way back in episode 180, we did a very special episode that was all travel hacks, but this is such a common happiness stumbling block, and people have so many great suggestions. It feels worth revisiting, but if people want more ideas, you can go back to 180 and listen to a bunch of them. Listeners have such great ideas. There's so much creativity and ingenuity. I just love these hacks.
It always blows my mind. Gretch, well, let's start with some of your favorite travel hacks.
Okay. So I love to read on vacation. Elizabeth, I know you love to read on vacation, but one thing I've learned is don't bring a challenging book on vacation, because often I'm like, oh, I'll have all this free time. I'll be able to concentrate, but I'm on vacation. I don't want to read something that's very difficult. So now I try to read books that are really good, but that are not demanding, like academic books or something like that. I now pack a travel mug. I like a huge mug, bigger mug than anybody else wants. I don't like drinking out of like a little dinky mug. And so now I pack my own mug if I possibly can. Here's one that's important. Okay, and this came up in our trip to England, Elizabeth. Use a roller bag if you possibly can, because even if you think, oh, I'm just going from the car right into the airport and I hardly need to carry it at all, so often things happen. You have to be rerouted. Something isn't working. When I was in England, the travel conveyor belts weren't working, so I ended up having to carry my bag. We couldn't get a ride from the train station to the hotel. We had to walk with our bags.
Yes.
Even airports these days are so gigantic. You might end up walking 5,000 steps just going to your gate. And so unless your bag is incredibly light or you're extremely strong, I would say always use a roller bag if you possibly can.
Very good advice. Yeah. Roller bags are something where once they were invented, it was just
Yes.
game on. We're all getting roller bags.
For some reason, Jamie is very averse to them. I think he feels like it's more authentic. I don't know. I'm like, suit yourself, and I'm taking a roller bag.
Gretch, here's something you learn the hard way.
Okay. If you are in a city that has multiple airports, double, triple check your airport. I am looking at you, New York City, with your LaGuardia, Kennedy, and Newark airports. I am looking at Dallas that has Love Field, and it also has Dallas-Fort Worth. London has them. I have more than once gone or at least headed in the wrong direction to the wrong airport. And so double check.
Yes, my sister-in-law and her whole family did that in Los Angeles when they were going to Europe. So that was an adventure.
Another hack I have is if you're in a country where you don't speak the language, you can use your Google app on your phone to translate the package. We did this in Japan where it's like, what is this item? And it will tell you. Sometimes it's fun to be in suspense, but sometimes you really want to know what's inside or you want to know the name of something. And that just gives you quick, easy translation. It's amazing. And then also, if you want white noise, I think a lot of people in a hotel room or if they're in an unfamiliar place like to have white noise to help them sleep. This is a little bit of a process, but I will say the steps. If you're on an Apple iPhone, you go to Settings, then you go to Accessibility, then you, under Hearing, choose Audio and Visual. Then you choose background sounds on and off, and then you can choose ocean, rain, stream, balance noise, etc. It took me a couple times before I could do it pretty easily to remember the steps, but then it's great because you can just have a white noise machine playing and you can have it playing as long as you want. So that really helps me to sleep sometimes if I'm in an unfamiliar place.
Yes, very useful.
And then the final one that I have is what I would call grocery store grab bags. So when I went to Japan, there was a day where we were tired out and just wanted to do something really simple. So to make it fun, we went to a grocery store, bought a lot of food, kind of unusual things that we didn't know what they were exactly. And then we just had a picnic and we called it grocery store grab bag because everybody just grabbed things that caught their eye and then we had fun tasting them. So that was just a really fun way to do something a little bit different. It was extremely inexpensive and it had a picnic feel. It was very fun.
Yes, there's something about going to a grocery store that gives you a different experience of a city.
Yes, absolutely.
Gretch, I want to recommend an app. I think I've mentioned it before, but I'm such a fan. It's called Splitwise.
Oh,
and if you're taking a trip with friends and you want to keep track of expenses, I won't go into all the details of how it works, but just suffice it to say, this will make your trip so much easier and it will absolutely streamline everybody paying each other back for dinners and tickets and whatnot. And it's really easy to use.
So this is great if you're traveling with a bunch of people who need to split expenses.
Yes.
So this is like the bachelorette party or the college reunion.
Exactly. Splitwise.
I actually have a travel app that I really love too. It's called Tripsy. And it's a travel planning app. And you can send all of your flight information, your trains, restaurants, hotels, and all you have to do is email it to the Tripsy app, and it puts it all in one organized planner, and you can go to it at any time and see your whole day's itinerary and share it with your family or whoever else you're traveling with. It works great.
Oh, wow. I cannot wait to try that. Right, because sharing information is one of the hardest things on a trip, I find.
Yes. And having everything in one place.
Yes, so you don't have to keep switching between different documents or different screens. But Elizabeth, what are some of your hacks?
Well, you know, Gretchen, I love my CalPack bag. I think
Yeah.
we mentioned it in the gift guide. It's the puffy. I have a tote bag and a little mini duffel. And my hack is to have a puffy bag and use it as a pillow on the plane. It is, if I have a window seat, I put it up against the window, I lean against it, and it is so comfortable.
Okay, so it's good for carrying things and it's also good for leaning against.
Yes, yes. And then my other hack, Gretchen, is travel with dogs. It is really fun. I'm not talking about plane rides here, although I know
Okay.
a lot of people love to bring their dogs on the plane. We have not done that, nor do I think our dogs would be good on a plane because they bark so much.
Yeah.
But if we take driving trips, we have always have so much fun when we bring them. Yes, it's a hassle, but it just adds to the excitement and the fun.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
I love those hacks.
All right, Gretch, coming up, we have lots of amazing hacks from listeners. But first, this break.
I'm so excited to share a message from Giving Tuesday, the world's biggest day for generosity. As many of you know, I'm a huge Giving Tuesday fan. So much a fan that I even serve on their board. So mark your calendars, everyone, because this year, Giving Tuesday is on December 3rd, following Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Did you know that giving back, whether through donating money, volunteering time, or sharing kindness, significantly increases happiness and well-being? So, is there a cause you've wanted to volunteer for, or an organization you love to support? Giving Tuesday is the perfect day to do so. And while you're at it, share your generosity on social media using hashtag Giving Tuesday. Research shows that when you talk about being generous, others are inspired to be generous as well. Okay, let's dive into these travel hacks from listeners. And Elizabeth, we'll go through these quickly because we got so many.
Yes.
We want to just share as many as possible because each one applies to different people.
Yes.
We're all in slightly different situations, different stages of life. So you have to pick and choose the ones that work for you. So the first set comes from Courtney. She says, I have been a flight attendant for 25 years, so I have a lot of travel hacks, but here are a few that I think are most beneficial. Many people have a picture of their passport in their phone, but I also pack a photocopy in case my phone is lost along with the passport. Yikes. Yeah, that would be bad. Always bring an empty water bottle to the airport and fill it once inside security. 3, in-flight entertainment systems and Wi-Fi are fantastic, but they don't always work. Actually, it just happened to me last week on a 9-hour flight. I was a passenger and my TV didn't work and the Wi-Fi didn't work. So download movies, TV shows, podcasts, books, etc., and or bring a physical book. And last, I always carry an extension cord. It takes up very little space, but can make things so much easier when outlets in airports and or hotel rooms are in hard to reach places. All such great ideas.
Yes. And Gretchen, these hacks come from Pauline. She says, planning and booking a few key stuff ahead. No one wants to queue 5 hours in the sun in front of the Uffizi in Florence. Bonus, it makes you look forward to your trip even more. More happiness before the trip has even started. Staying flexible when things don't go according to plan and scheduling lots of unplanned time because it should also be an adventure. Moving every few days to a new spot makes a trip feel so much longer and full of new experiences. Like, I can't believe we were in blank location just 3 days ago. And then she says mosquito repellent because never underestimate the power of a single mosquito.
Adrian says, choose a national airline that gives you free stopovers in their country. Some, especially to the United Emirates, will even pay for a day or two in a hotel and pick you up from the airport. I traveled to London, but first to Istanbul. I went to LA from Amsterdam with a wonderful stop in Casablanca and Marrakesh on Moroccan Airlines. I think you can do this with Iceland. When I went to Iceland, they said you could have a free stopover on your way to Europe. And I thought, oh my gosh, that sounds so luxurious.
I never have heard of this. That's a great tip.
Yeah.
Kirsten says, I always try to check out a local library. You can tell a lot about a community by its libraries.
I've heard of this with grocery stores and with drugstores. I think checking out a local library is a brilliant idea. Lisa says, as a contact lens wearer, I repurpose the free lens cases that are often provided within boxes of sterilizing solution. I fill the little cups with small amounts of different ointments, such as antibacterial, anti-itch, special face cream, etc. I then use a Sharpie to label the contents on each screw on top. They don't leak, and it sure beats packing lots of tubes and jars. Well, I just went to the eye doctor and I got a disposable contact lens case, and I was like, this is a great idea. I'm going to use it for that. I'm so excited.
Yes. Space efficient.
Yes.
Evelyn says, the Time Shifter app is great for working through jet lag. It provides advice on when to sleep, wake up, expose yourself to bright light, and drink caffeine to adjust as quickly as possible to your new time zone. Gretch, I know someone who just used this and said it was amazing.
Oh, that's great to know about. Sarah said, a few years ago on a trip with 25 friends to Oktoberfest in Munich, my friend had the best travel advice. Speak up whenever there is something you really want to do or really don't want to do. And the rest of the time, just be enthusiastic about whatever is going on and you'll have a great time, even if it wasn't something on your list of ideas. Great idea.
And related to that suggestion, Audra says, with the whole family, ask what is the most important thing they do on this vacation. Then schedule those things in the early part of the trip if you can. Everybody did their thing, nobody dominates the schedule, and the rest of the days are gravy.
That's a good idea. Johanna says, return home with at least one day of your holidays remaining so you have time to rest before returning to work or school. I learned this from my in-laws. They do this, and it really does take the pressure off the return.
Yes. Kim says, an easy and light toy for babies and toddlers on planes is painter's tape. A roll of it is small and light, and they love ripping off pieces and sticking it to the seats, tray tables, and even faces, and no damage.
I mean, how ingenious is this?
Excellent.
I mean, I can imagine hours, but it would never have occurred to me to think of painter's tape as like a toy.
Yes.
So brilliant. Sarah says, you are never going to take as good a photo of a major landmark as are on the postcards. So a few years ago, I started buying postcards along my travels and writing memories of the trip as I went along. I have them in an album and they are a great record of my travels. I also started using the idea of the five senses to capture more specific, evocative memories after reading your book. Oh, Life in Five Senses. That's a great idea. And I love a postcard. Love this idea.
Yes. And then you don't have to spend as much time trying to get a perfect photo.
Yes, exactly.
Belinda says, fold up a duffel bag in the bottom of your suitcase for dirty clothes you can check on the flight home. Dump the whole bag in the laundry when you arrive home. Then you have room for souvenirs in your suitcase. That is a fantastic idea.
Very elegant. Ellen says, if you take a tour, do it on your first day. The tour guide can give you lots of suggestions for the rest of your trip. That is a great idea.
Charlotte says, I set an alarm on my phone to grab any items from the hotel safe before I check out. Good idea. I think a lot of people don't want to put things in the safe because they're so worried they'll forget them in the safe.
Okay, you know what some people do is they put a shoe in there. So they can't get out because they can only put on one shoe. But of course, if you put on the wrong pair of shoes, then it doesn't work. But if you only have one pair of shoes or you know what shoes you're going to wear, that can be another aid.
I think we've talked about that. That's a very good idea.
So clever. Peggy says, I now travel with noise-canceling headphones and an eye mask. They're great in a plane, and the eye mask is vital to me getting a good night's sleep, whether I'm on the plane, in a hotel, or at my mom's house. Great. Many people love those.
Yes. Jane said, building on Elizabeth's hack to take extra towels along when traveling with a dog, I recommend having those towels be microfiber camping towels. They take up less space and dry really quickly. I always have them in the trunk of my car because my dog loves to swim. I like camping towels so much that I use them in my bathroom at home. Camping towels are soft, come in great colors from REI, and take far less dryer time than regular towels.
I have never experienced one of these towels. I've got to check this out.
Good to know.
Jennifer says, plastic flip-flops, I never travel without them. I use them as slippers, shower shoes, and beach shoes. They are perfect after a long day of walking and hiking and my feet hurt. In a warmer location, they are perfect for being out in the pouring rain. And they're so easy to pack.
Yes, they take up very little room. All right, Gretchen, coming up, we have more excellent hacks. But first, this break. All right, Gretchen, we are back with more hacks. This comes from Andrea, and it's a little bit on the techie side. She says, I started using the notes on my phone to keep track of travel arrangements. You can copy and paste, drag and drop, or just use the send icon to send info directly into the note. I usually make all the travel arrangements for my family, so when my husband and son were going on college visits, I was able to share the travel note directly with them. It had all the information they needed: flight times and confirmation numbers, hotel reservations, rental car reservations. I was even able to add the QR code for the parking reservation I made for them at the airport. Before the trip, when they had questions on a daily basis, I would just say, look at the note. By the time they left, they were accustomed to looking at it, and I didn't get a single travel-related question while they were away.
Excellent. I'm going to experiment with this. This feels
Yes.
out of reach for me, but she makes it sound pretty simple.
Yeah, and if you figure it out, it could be a game changer.
Exactly. Cheryl says, take a photo of your rental car's license plate. On a trip several years ago, we got into the wrong rental car. It was the exact same make and model, and the license plate was only one letter different from ours. We realized our mistake after we got into the car, and it was a mess, and we realized it wasn't our car. Of course, the key fob wouldn't work, but it's good to have the license plate known. Sometimes the rental car keychain has the license plate written on it. Take a picture of anything you think you might need. You will never regret it.
Yes. This next one is related. Jeanette says, take a picture of your luggage to have on your phone. Any information you have to identify your luggage will increase your chances of retrieving lost luggage in a timely fashion.
And I want to add to this because when we were coming back from England, Elizabeth, because that conveyor belt wasn't working, my bag was delayed for like more than a day. And they ask you all these questions about your bag. And I realized I had only the dimmest sense of what my bag looked like. I knew which one was your bag and which was my bag, but you just never really look at it. It's like, what's on both sides of a quarter? You don't know because you don't really look at it. So I was like, well, is it kind of a dark brown or is it more kind of like an elephant gray? So part of it is just really look at your bag and have a sense of it. But I think taking a picture of it is a really good idea. And then if you have some kind of distinctive luggage tag or ribbon or something, pay attention so you're not just looking for it automatically, but it's like, oh, is this the one that has the giant R on it? Or is this the one that's the weird pink?
Right.
I just was very surprised by how little recollection I had of my own bag and how many questions I was being asked about how it looked. But I did get it back, but it could have been simpler.
Good reminder. Okay, Leomi says, I want to share a reduce, reuse, recycle packing cube hack. If you happen to buy new bedding items, pillowcases, quilts, pillows, sheets, and even curtains, they often come in durable zippered plastic packages that you can save. They have lots of storage uses around the house, but I love to use them as packing cubes.
Can I just say, when Eleanor moved into her dorm room, we used those bags for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're super handy. And it does feel good to reuse them because they're, at least the ones we had were good quality. So it made me happy to put them to good use again instead of just tossing them.
That's a great idea.
Caitlin says, many of my friends collect place-specific souvenirs from their trips like fridge magnets and mugs, but these would be a nightmare for me when moving house. Plus, I'm not really into knickknacks, so I developed my own method of buying souvenirs. Whenever I'm planning a trip, I start thinking ahead about what small practical object I currently need or want to replace and deliberately look for it during my next travels. For example, recently I got my umbrella from London, where else, stationery from The Hague, keychain from a Croatian small town market, and earphones from Milan. These items, though not at all place-specific, but reflect my style, don't become clutter when I get home and serve as functional reminders of my travels. Well, Elizabeth, when we were in England, remember I said to you, oh, I'd love to get some coasters.
Yes.
Because I need coasters. And then we actually got some as a gift. I was even better.
Yeah.
But it was fun to have something that I knew I actually needed. I wasn't just buying some gizmo.
Yes, love that idea. Richard said, I have maintained a packing list for years that is modified after every trip as to what worked or didn't, what new things I need to add, etc. Example, for overseas travel, plug adapters. Hate getting to London, only to realize I forgot my plug adapters and need to go out and buy yet more. Ugh.
Yeah, we've all done it.
He also says, I pack a small over-the-shoulder messenger bag for maps, pen, etc. for use when I'm at my destination, and so I don't have to carry that as a separate item onto the plane.
Great idea. And then finally from Anne, this is kind of next level, but I thought it was a great suggestion. She writes, I booked a photographer to take pictures of all of us in Italy since it was such a big and meaningful trip with my dad. It turned out to be one of my favorite vacations. I used a website, flytographer.com, which a friend told me about, and it came out great. Oh, so that's great because it was a big, like, we're going back to Italy where our family is from. It was full of memories, and that made it even more special.
Yeah, a great family photograph would be an amazing souvenir for a big milestone trip.
Absolutely. Well, let us know if you do try these these hacks at home and how these travel hacks work for you. And do you have any more? We are always on the hunt. Let us know on Instagram, Threads, TikTok, Facebook. Drop us an email at podcast@gretchenrubin.com. Or as always, you can go to the show notes. This is happiercast.com/510 for links related to this episode. And now for the resource, there is 45% off the journals in the Happiness Project shop for Black Friday. This is the biggest journal sale of the year for the Happiness Project. You can stock up on gifts for yourself, for people on your list. These are beautiful tools, I think. I worked with a brilliant team to create them. That's the Know Yourself Better journal, which is the bestseller, the Five Senses journal, which people love, the brand new I Want You to Know journal, which was named one of today's top 100 gifts for 2024. Extremely excited about that. So just go to happiercast.com/Black Friday, and that starts on Black Friday, which is 11/29/24. And now, what are we reading? Elizabeth, what are you reading?
I'm rereading We Solve Murders by Richard Osman.
And I am reading The Bright Sword by Lev Grossman. And that's it for this episode of Happier. Remember to try this at home. Try out some of these travel hacks. Let us know what you tried and what worked for you.
Thank you to our executive producer, Chuck Reed, and everyone at Odyssey. Get in touch. Gretchen's on Instagram, Threads, Facebook, and TikTok at Gretchen Rubin, and I'm on Instagram and Threads at Liz Craft.
And please, we would so appreciate it if you rate the show. Give us those 5-star ratings. We love them. Give us a review. People really care. And here's your rhyming reminder. If the show sparks joy in your soul, nudge others to enroll.
Until next week, I'm Elizabeth Craft.
And I'm Gretchen Rubin. Thanks for joining us. Onward and upward. So, Liz, it occurs to me that the painter's tape hack, I mean, the listener said it for the plane, but you could use this in a car. You could use this at a restaurant. You could use this on a visit. It's just one of these things that I could just imagine it would keep a little kid busy for a very long time without them doing any damage.
Yes, I think adults enjoy painter's tape as well.
That's true. I should have thought of that as like one of the touch exercises for life in five senses. Play with some painter's tape. We all want to.
Yeah.
From the Onward Project.